Welcome to Tactic 10. You guys are probably already have an idea of what I feel about this one. But coming from the mortgage industry, it's a tough one for me. I'm admitting it. I think this is an important one to read. I want you to really see it from two different angles, though. I want you to see that what they're trying to share, I believe that they're trying to be helpful, and I believe that they are doing what I am used to hearing since the late 90s in every real estate course I've ever taken. Especially when you get your license, they want you to bring your financial calculator to class. They want to talk to you about creative financing. They want to talk to you about different financing options and what you should know and how to stay on top of it and everything. Now, being a background of a lender, and I was in the mortgage business, the idea and the amount of agents that I worked with that tried to give mortgage advice while I'm working with our mutual client makes me sick, okay? As a lender, I do this for a living. I did this for a living. It took me full-time work to stay on top of the market and understand what was best for the clients. Couple problems. When I became an agent, then it became exactly opposite. I had lenders that were trying to give advice, real estate advice, when it took me full-time work to stay on top of my market and be the best professional I could be. People need to figure out what lane they're in and stay in that lane. Okay? I'm going to say that till I'm blue in the face. Yeah, you want to have a general understanding. Don't talk about it, though, in my opinion. Network with someone that is. You should be the absolute top profession. You should have an absolute goal to be the top professional within your industry. You know what you're talking about. You have real knowledge. You've done the real work, okay, as a realtor. Now, in that process, if you've learned a little bit about finances and you've learned a little bit about mortgages, now you should be partnering and networking with 1 to 3 loan officers or mortgage lenders that you consider at your same level or higher of ethics, of knowledge, of professionalism within their industry. Now, even if I knew something, I was bent beyond belief to tell the client, you know what, at this point, yeah, I did know a lot about mortgages. Now, in the back of my brain, I'm fudging a little bit. I might still have an interest in it, and I still have to stay on top of it, and I might know more than some loan officers do, okay? But that's not who I'm referring them to, and that's not who I'm networking with. That's key, okay? So I would let them know, at this point, let's do this. Let's go ahead and call Joe the lender, and stuff like that. And let's get him on the phone. Let's get some of those scenarios answered for you. That would be one thing. Now, I mentioned in a previous video, here's what I also do. Anybody that I have a mutual client with a lender, I actually share with them my calendar of when I'm going out on appointments with these people. So they knew if I'm going to be with them on Wednesday from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, that's on his calendar. He doesn't need to be there. He doesn't need in any way, shape, or form to be a part of that meeting. But if he sees us call between 2 and 3 o'clock, he knows what I'm doing. He knows exactly what I'm doing, is I'm allowing him to be the professional that he is and not advising his client based on questions that they gave me that have nothing to do with my profession, even if I know the answer. I am going to get him on the phone and I'm going to do a handoff. I expect the same out of him. And if he isn't going to give me that, we're going to have a conversation. And if he continues to do it, it's just not a good partnership for me. I will stay in my lane. I expect them to stay in their lane, period. Does that mean that you don't want to stay on top of what's going on and what's available and everything else like that? No, you do. Absolutely you do. But I'm telling you right now, you want to be able to hold yourself back and know that you have the restraint to know when to stop and have them talk to the professional. And you guys should have that mutual respect and understanding and agreement between each other. Period. Now, why do I have a little bit of a problem with this book? Because, or I should say this chapter, is I'm just telling you right now, is in this chapter on page, now, your pages may be different. I don't know if the bound one is different than the non-bound one, but this starts on 197 in my book. Now, they kind of at 214 is the first time. That's almost 20 pages in before they start mentioning is basically similar concept to what I'm talking about here is that you want to be networked with another professional within the financial industry. From there, though, it's kind of it's a sentence maybe. It's a very passing thing. And then from there, it's not till they get to 219. That's almost 20 to 25 pages in before they actually talk about build your finance team. I'm just telling you right now, in this chapter, if there's one thing I want to suggest to you, skip to 219. It's my first suggestion to you in this chapter. Skip to page 219 or wherever it is in your book where it says your finance team. And I wrote right in here, this section should start the chapter rather than risk being an afterthought. That phrase means a lot to me. Rather than risk whatever it is, rather than risk being an afterthought. Because in our industry, that's what I've noticed in most of the real estate courses I've taken as well. So I still remember to this day going through my first real estate courses and getting my license and everything else, and them telling me, you want to bring, I can't remember what it was, but HP calculator, I can't remember the number at the time, but you want to bring your financial calculator, and we're going to go through finances, and you want to know what finance options are available, and you want to know how to run payments and everything else like that. Now, I came from the mortgage industry, and a lot of the stuff that they were teaching us in there, I was livid. I was furious. I'm like, why would a real estate agent be doing any of this stuff with a client instead of actually getting them in front of a loan officer that is 10 times better in their industry than you are as a realtor at this point? Okay. And so what they do talk about is building your financial team. And it's about, I'd say it gets almost a full page because it starts about, it's got about a third of a page here. And it's got probably a little more than 2/3 on the next page. And I'm going to tell you, I think that they do a reasonable job during that section. It needs to start there. So that's the first thing. And I took 7 minutes to hit all of these points. But now let's just go through a couple things that they talk about. I can't stress everything I just said more. Be the best professional as a realtor. Okay. And that's not just about lead gen, and it's not just about overcoming objections. Okay. And then network with people who are as good in their profession as you or 10 times better, and don't do their job. Just don't do it. Okay. Now, if you have some ideas, that's fine, because it does say in here, meet with your financial team. I think it's like once a month or something like that. And you and your lenders and everybody get together so that you can kind of share with each other what's going on and everything. So you've got a little bit of idea. If you bring them up to your client and go, you know what? I was just talking to Joe last week and he had a couple ideas. Let's do this. Let's get Joe on the phone right now. I don't even want to pretend to know what he was talking about. You might know completely, but just say at this point, let's just get Joe on the phone. Joe should know because I shared my calendar with him. He knows when I'm meeting with him. He darn well better take my call. Okay? It's for our mutual client. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to set up a time for them to meet with him. Key points. You are a real estate professional, not a lender, LO, or mortgage professional. Partner with a professional or a few professionals and stay in your lane. Don't try to be everything to everybody. Connect with people and other professionals. Do not try to succeed alone. How many wonderful, wonderful people in business have talked about is you don't succeed alone, you don't succeed alone, you don't succeed alone, you don't succeed alone. Okay? Build a team. Even if you're a solo agent, you still have a team. Okay? You have your broker. If you're a solo agent and then you've been around for a while, so now you also became a broker, okay, you're still not doing anything alone. You still have closers. You still have escrow. You still have, in some states, attorneys. You have lenders, okay? None of this is done alone. Build your team. Don't try to succeed alone. I love that that's kind of pointed out here in different words, but that's basically what they're saying in a couple of them. You'll see, I marked this chapter up good. Okay? Do the right thing. Ask yourself how much you should be looking for the creative solution versus being able to partner with someone who deals with financing for a living. Stay in your lane. They're going to constantly talk about creative financing and your ability to come up with creative solutions. Come up with creative solutions, that's fine. Talk to their lender and make sure their lender goes through those solutions with them or do it all together. Don't have those conversations directly with just the client. You may be advising them and you don't have the full story. You are not the one who pulled their credit. You are not the one who has their income statements. You are not the one who has their bank statements and everything else like that. What you hear from the client may not be their entire financial situation or picture. Their lender absolutely better have that complete picture. Okay? And before you go out and look at a bunch of properties and get involved in a contract and everything, darn right that lender should already know all of that stuff. So yes, you do need to get them involved in those conversations. No ifs and buts about it. Financing is a full-time career and profession. Help to correct this assumption, okay? So what is that assumption? In here, they talk about the seller expects you to educate them about all the financial options. Remember in the last tactic, I said the customer is not always right. I think they're right in this book in stating that some sellers are going to expect you as their agent, as their realtor. Some sellers will expect you to educate them about all the financial options. And I wrote, help to correct this assumption. That's not a good assumption. It's not a correct assumption, okay? And introduce them to an expert in creative financing. Not only an expert in creative financing, but an expert that actually knows that buyer's real full story. He's already got their credit. He's already got their bank statements. You've already heard me talk about this. I'm telling you right now, you might understand creative financing. You don't know that you know the whole story on that client. A lot of those things that you're talking about for creative financing, they don't even qualify for. Why would you tell them about 1, 2, or 3 creative solutions that literally they may not even qualify for? Don't go down that road. You're about to set levels of expectation that they may not qualify for. Don't go down that road. Don't, okay? Choose where you will be an expert and network in the areas you're not. Period. Okay? I won't hit that any farther. Introduce them to someone who is qualified. I mean, over and over and over again, I keep hitting a lot of the same things, okay? Okay, so here's something that I do want to hit with is there are some great things that they're going to give in this chapter, okay? So look at all the graphics, look at all of the different points. Figure 50 is the one I'm talking about right now. And when they get into that, I wrote a side note that says, check with your lender before writing these into a contract. So this is just a real honest answer of what I've seen from an agent perspective, from a lender perspective, from an admin perspective, and even from my broker perspective when I was a broker, is a lot of times, yes, you may connect your buyer with a lender or they're already connected with a lender, okay? Then you go out, ballpark what price range that they can afford because the lender has shared that with you and everything else like that. But then what we do as realtors, we write the offer in a way that we think that's what it needs to be to get the deal done. Whatever the concessions are, whatever the creativity is, everything else like that, with zero input from the lender. Have a great conversation. If you're working with a buyer and you haven't had an amazing conversation with the lender as to, can I get some guidance from you as to what they qualify, what are the programs, what are they looking at? When I write that offer, how do you want it structured? Okay, you the lender. Okay, how do you want it structured so that we're not having to write 3 amendments afterwards and changing the type of financing and everything else like that? You need to have a complete understanding as a realtor that it is not up to you as to how that offer is best written. If they were paying cash, maybe you are their sole advisor on that, okay? But if they're getting financing, this ain't just you, okay? You're not the only one who has input as to what that offer and how it should be structured, what it should look like and how it should be structured. Talk to your partner. I don't care if you've never worked with this lender before. That lender is still helping your mutual client. Notice how I don't call them your client or their client. Your mutual client. They're the ones that are helping your mutual client get into this home and accomplish their goals. The amount of contracts that I've seen come in, and then we talk to the lender, and just a simple one, and that is you wrote that the closing date is in 30 days. Come to find out, it got negotiated for 3, 4, 5 days after that, after being written. Then it went through the inspection process, which was another 5 to 7 days. Come to find out, they just burnt 10 days of those 30 days out, sometimes up to 15 days. And now you're expecting the lender to get that done in 15 days? Okay. Talk to your lender partner and make sure all these creative things that you're doing, make sure it lines up with the person that you are partnering with to help the mutual client accomplish their goals. Okay? All right. There is so much more in this chapter, but the main things that I wanted to point out in here, so this doesn't become too long, because this one I think you can guess based on what you've already seen in the first 9 tactics, 10 tactics. This is one I could probably do almost a whole course on, just lenders, lender professionals, loan officer professionals, mortgage broker professionals, realtors, real estate professionals, how they can do the best to maximize their level of professionalism so that they are the highest level of professionals in their industry, always leading with compassion, and then how they would work best together. This chapter goes a little too long for me before they really talk about you starting to take that relationship and make that a part of this equation. That's a problem for me. So I would recommend go to that your financing team, overemphasize that section to yourself, start with it, then read the rest of the chapter. And then, if I were you, sit down with your actual finance person, ask them to read that same chapter, and you guys have discussions. Okay, a lot of these things, these tactics, I'm giving you things I would suggest that you do with others. Okay, don't make this book a you thing. Okay, you have a team. Hopefully you have a team. Okay, when I say team, I'm not talking about you're on a real estate team with 18 other agents and everything else like that. I'm talking about the team you built to serve your clients. Okay, your lenders, your closer, your escrow, your attorney, and everybody else that's helping your mutual clients get this goal accomplished. Read these some of these chapters together and actually have great conversations around them so that you both are in full agreement about how this will be handled, when you guys will do a proper handoff, when you'll just play dumb. Even if you think you know the answer, you'll still play dumb because you know that is the time that you should be doing a proper handoff. All right. Let's move on to the next tactic. So let me just quick pull that up for you. And what is it? Master the market of the moment. Short sales, foreclosures, and REOs. Some people love this stuff. Some people run from this stuff. Let's talk about it.